Ladies and gentlemen, there's a power in love that is unmatched by anything else in this world, and that power lies not just in loving those who are easy to love, but in loving the people who challenge us the most. It's easy to love those who love us back, right? It's easy to love people who treat us well, who speak kind words, and who bring joy into our lives. But what about the ones who hurt us? What about the ones who push our buttons and test our patience? What about the ones who seem to be resistant to love no matter how much we give? That's where the true strength of love comes into play. It's not always about who we find lovable, but about choosing to love despite the challenge. When we talk about loving the unlovable, it's important to understand that love is not just a feeling. It's a choice. Love is an action. It's a decision to extend grace when we've been wronged, to show kindness when we've been hurt, and to offer forgiveness even when we don't feel like it. But here's the thing, loving those who are hard to love doesn't mean excusing their behavior, accepting toxic patterns, or ignoring our boundaries. No, it means seeing them for who they truly are beyond the hurt they carry. It means choosing to act in love even when our feelings might say otherwise. So often we fail to recognize that people who are difficult to love are often acting out of their own pain, struggles, and past wounds. What if instead of focusing on their behavior, we focused on what's behind it? What if we asked ourselves what's causing them to act this way? Maybe they've been hurt too many times. Maybe they've experienced rejection or betrayal that has left scars. Perhaps they don't know how to show love because they've never truly received it. When we look beyond the surface and see the brokenness, we can begin to approach them with compassion rather than frustration. But here's the truth we have to hold on to. Love doesn't always come easily, and it doesn't always feel good. It can be hard to love someone who doesn't return your love. It's hard to love someone who keeps pushing you away, who keeps testing your patience, who doesn't seem to appreciate what you're offering. But this is where the power of choice comes in. In these moments, we have to make the decision to love in spite of the hurt, to love when it feels difficult, and to love when the natural response is to withdraw. And when we choose love in these moments, we reflect the heart of God who loved us even when we were unlovable. And here's the miracle of loving those who are hard to love. It heals us. Loving someone who doesn't deserve it isn't just about helping them, it's about freeing ourselves. You see, when we hold on to anger, bitterness, or unforgiveness, we are only hurting ourselves. Our hearts become hardened and we close ourselves off from the very love that could heal us. But when we choose love, when we choose to forgive, when we choose to show kindness, when we choose to be patient, we open our hearts to healing. We release the chains that anger and resentment have placed on us. Loving others in this way is not just about them, it's about our own freedom, our own peace, and our own growth. The ripple effect of love is real. When we choose to love someone who is hard to love, we create a wave that can spread further than we can imagine. We may never see the full impact of our love, but know this: your choice to love someone who is difficult can break down walls in their heart, inspiring them to show love in return. It can change their perspective and help them heal from the wounds that have caused their behavior. And even if they don't change right away, know that your love is planting seeds that may one day bear fruit. In the meantime, you are transforming yourself. You are becoming more compassionate, more gracious, more graceful. You are becoming more like Christ in the process. So I challenge you today, who is it that you've been struggling to love? Who in your life has tested your patience, your grace, or your kindness? Instead of withdrawing, instead of giving up, choose love. Choose to see them with new eyes. Choose to forgive, to be kind, to offer a hand when they push you away. You may never know the full extent of the difference your love can make, but I promise you it is powerful. Love changes everything. It changes hearts, it changes lives, and it starts with you. Loving people who are hard to love isn't just an act of kindness toward others, it's an act of transformation for yourself. Embrace the challenge and watch the power of love do what nothing else can. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, yet it is often underestimated. We talk about love, we hear about love, but do we truly understand the depth of its power? Love isn't just a feeling or an emotion, it is a force that has the ability to transform lives, heal wounds, and bridge the deepest divides. When you understand the true power of love, you begin to realize that it isn't just something you give, it's something you receive and something that changes you at your core. At its core, love is the act of selflessness. It's the decision to put someone else's needs before your own, to lay down your pride and your ego for the sake of connection. Love moves us to act in ways that transcend our normal capacity. It pushes us beyond our limits, forcing us to expand the boundaries of our hearts. You've heard it said before, love your neighbor as yourself, but have you ever stopped to think about what that really means? Loving others with the same compassion, patience, and grace that we offer ourselves isn't easy, it's radical. It challenges our instincts, it stretches our patience, and it calls us to do things we might otherwise never consider. But the power of love is that when we choose to live it out, it shapes us into something greater. The power of love is also the power of healing. There is something deeply profound in the way love mends brokenness. When you love someone, truly love them not for what they do for you or what they can offer, but simply because they exist, something inside them begins to change. It may not happen overnight, but love creates a safe space for healing to begin. It softens hardened hearts, removes walls of bitterness, and brings clarity where confusion once reigned. Love is a balm for the wounds we carry, whether they are visible or hidden deep inside. It is the force that makes us whole again, piece by piece, even when we feel like we are too broken to be fixed. But love isn't just about healing others, it's about healing ourselves. When you understand the power of love, you begin to see that it's not just for those around you, it's for you too. Loving others, especially those who are difficult to love, breaks open the capacity of your heart. It makes you more empathetic, more understanding, more forgiving. When you make the choice to love, even when it's hard, you release yourself from the chains of anger, resentment, and fear. You free your heart to live more fully, to experience joy in its truest form, and to find peace that surpasses all understanding. Love also has the ability to connect us to something greater than ourselves. It connects us to others, yes, but it also connects us to God, the creator of love itself. When we choose to love in the way He has shown us unconditionally, abundantly, without expecting anything in return, we align ourselves with His divine purpose for our lives. We become more like Him, reflecting His heart to the world. And in doing so, we begin to tap into a deeper well of strength and grace. The power of love is the power to reflect the image of God, to become vessels of His goodness, and to bring light to the darkest places. Understanding the power of love means realizing that love is not bound by circumstances. It doesn't stop when things get tough. It doesn't fade when people disappoint or hurt you. It doesn't retreat in the face of fear. No, love is constant, love is relentless, and love is transformative. When we understand the power of love, we realize that we don't just love because it feels good or because it's easy. We love because it has the power to change everything. So when you find yourself faced with the challenge of loving those who are hard to love, remember this: the power of love is not in your ability to love perfectly. It is in your willingness to love even when it stretches you, even when it costs you something. Love has the power to heal, to transform, to restore, and to connect. When you understand this, you'll begin to see that love is not just a passive action, it is a force that changes everything it touches. And when you make the decision to love, you step into the fullness of that power. There are walls that people build, walls that stand between them and the rest of the world. Sometimes these walls are built out of pain, sometimes out of fear, and sometimes out of past betrayals. We all know what it's like to build a wall around our hearts in an attempt to protect ourselves from hurt, rejection, or disappointment. But what if behind those walls there are struggles we can't see, stories we don't know, and pain we can't even begin to understand? When we encounter someone who is difficult to love, difficult to reach, or difficult to connect with, it's easy to focus on their behavior, the harsh words, the cold shoulder, the distance they put between themselves and others. But I want to challenge you today to look beyond the behavior and to see the person behind the wall. Behind every outward action, behind every word spoken in anger or frustration, there is often a deeper struggle. There's a reason why people put up walls. They are protecting something precious within them. They're protecting a heart that has been bruised, a spirit that has been broken, and a soul that has been wounded. It takes courage to allow ourselves to feel the depth of our own struggles, and it takes even more courage to let others in to see that vulnerability. Yet many people walk around with invisible wounds, carrying scars that no one can see. They carry the weight of past hurts, abandonment, betrayal, rejection, and those wounds often manifest as walls. The person who seems distant or unapproachable may be someone who has been hurt deeply in the past. And rather than confronting their pain, they choose to hide behind their walls. What if we could approach them with empathy, understanding that their harshness, their coldness is often a mask for something far more tender underneath? We all have stories, don't we? Every single one of us. Stories that have shaped us, stories that have defined us, and stories that sometimes keep us trapped in our own pain. And while we may not be able to see the full story of someone else, we can make the choice to recognize that their struggles are real, even if we can't understand them. That person who is hard to love, hard to reach, and hard to communicate with, perhaps they're not pushing you away because they don't care. Perhaps they're pushing you away because they've learned that trusting others only leads to hurt. Perhaps they've built their walls to keep themselves safe from a world that has broken their heart too many times. It's easy to judge someone from the outside, to assume that their behavior reflects their true character, but if we look deeper, we'll find something different. We might find that their silence is a defense mechanism, that their anger is a shield, and that their bitterness is the result of years of pain they've been too afraid to confront. Recognizing the struggles behind the walls is not about excusing their behavior, but it's about extending grace, offering compassion, and acknowledging that we don't always know the battle someone is fighting. And here's the beautiful thing about recognizing the struggles behind the walls: it changes the way we interact with others. When we see people for who they truly are, not just what they present on the surface, we become more patient, more understanding, and more willing to meet them where they are. Instead of reacting to their behavior, we can respond with kindness, with empathy, and with love. We stop making everything about us and begin to understand that sometimes people's struggles are so deep that their actions have little to do with us and everything to do with what they've been through. So today I encourage you to ask yourself, who have you written off because their behavior was difficult to understand? Who have you dismissed because their walls were too high, too thick, or too strong? What if the love, the kindness, and the patience you offer them could be the very thing that helps tear down those walls? What if recognizing their struggles could be the key to helping them heal? Let's not allow the surface level judgments to prevent us from offering the very thing that could change someone's life. Let's choose to see people through a lens of compassion, knowing that behind every difficult person is a story that deserves to be heard, a heart that deserves to be healed, and a soul that deserves to be loved. When we look beyond the walls and into the struggles that people face, we unlock the potential for transformation both for them and for ourselves. There are moments in life when we are faced with a choice that feels impossible. The choice between holding on to hurt or letting it go, between letting the actions of others shape our response or choosing to rise above and love anyway. And I'll tell you, love doesn't always come easy. In fact, sometimes it feels like the hardest thing to do. It would be so much easier to give in to anger, to hold on to the pain, to let the wounds from the past define how we interact with the present. But here's the thing, choosing love over hurt is not just about what we do for others, it's about what we do for ourselves. It's about freeing our own hearts from the prison of bitterness, resentment, and unforgiveness. When people hurt us, it can feel like a weight we can't shake off, a burden that hangs around long after the incident is over. Our natural response is often to protect ourselves, to shut down, to build walls around our hearts so that we can't be hurt again. But those walls, while they may keep others out, also keep love from flowing freely into our lives. Choosing love over hurt means taking a risk. It means deciding that we won't let the pain of the past dictate the possibilities of our future. It means embracing the vulnerability of love even when we've been wounded, because we understand that to love is to be truly alive. When we choose love over hurt, we acknowledge the power of our response. You see, people can do things to us, but they cannot control how we respond unless we let them. The hurtful words, the actions that cut deep, the disappointments, they don't have to define us. Our response to those things is what ultimately shapes our lives. Will we choose to be defined by the hurt, or will we choose to respond with love, knowing that we are not beholden to anyone else's actions but our own? This is where the strength of love lies, in our ability to choose it, even when it seems impossible, even when it feels like we have every reason to walk away. Choosing love over hurt also requires a shift in our perspective. When someone hurts us, it's easy to focus on what they've done, to let our attention be consumed by the injustice of it all. But when we choose love, we begin to see things differently. We see that hurt people, and that often the actions that wound us are more about the other person's pain than our own. Choosing love means recognizing that their behavior is not a reflection of us, but a reflection of what they are going through. And while that doesn't excuse their actions, it helps us understand that we don't have to take it personally. It means we can extend grace even when it's hard, and respond with kindness even when it doesn't seem deserved. The beauty of choosing love over hurt is that it doesn't just heal the person who wronged us, it heals us too. When we choose to hold on to hurt, it festers inside us, affecting our peace, our joy, and our sense of well-being. But when we choose love, we release that hurt, and in doing so, we free ourselves. We create space for healing, not just for the person who has wronged us, but for ourselves. Love has a way of softening the edges of our hearts, of making us more whole, more capable of receiving the good things life has in store. And when we respond with love instead of hurt, we are no longer chained to the past, but walking in the freedom that comes with forgiveness. Choosing love over hurt is also about understanding the long-term impact. It's not always easy in the moment, but it's always worth it. Because love, when chosen in the face of pain, has the power to break chains, to change hearts, and to transform lives. Your decision to respond with love, no matter how hard it may seem, can create a ripple effect that touches not only the person who wronged you, but everyone around you. People will see the strength in your response, the grace in your heart, and they will be drawn to that love. it becomes contagious. And before you know it, your act of choosing love over hurt will inspire others to do the same, creating a wave of healing that spreads far beyond what you could ever imagine. So when you are faced with the choice between love and hurt, remember this: love is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It takes a courageous heart to forgive, to extend grace, and to choose peace in the face of chaos. Choosing love over hurt is not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about saying that your peace, your joy, and your purpose are too valuable to be taken away by someone else's actions. It's about standing firm in the truth that no matter what happens around you, love will always have the final say. Choosing love over hurt is a decision that empowers you, it frees you, it changes you, and in the process, it has the power to change the world around you. So choose love even when it's hard. Choose love because you are worthy of peace. Choose love because the world desperately needs it. There is something profoundly transformative about love, a power that goes beyond what we can understand or articulate. Love isn't just about affection or kindness, it's about healing wounds that run deeper than the surface, healing brokenness that the world may not even see. When we talk about healing through love, we are speaking about a force that can restore, renew, and rebuild. Love is the balm for the wounds we carry, the medicine for the hurts that we try to hide, and the light that can shine into the darkest corners of our hearts. We often think of healing as something that happens only when we seek professional help or when we get physical treatment for our bodies. But what about the healing of our hearts? The wounds from betrayal, rejection, and hurt that we often carry in silence. What about the scars left by disappointments and failed dreams? These kinds of wounds need more than just time, they need love. The love that comes from God, the love that we give to each other, the love we are sometimes reluctant to offer because we've been hurt before. But here's the truth: love is the only thing that can mend those broken places within us. Healing through love doesn't mean that we forget the pain or pretend it never happened. It doesn't mean that we excuse the wrongs done to us or allow ourselves to remain in toxic situations. No, healing through love is about choosing to respond differently, about choosing to allow love to flow into the spaces where bitterness, anger, and unforgiveness have taken root. It's about allowing God's love to wash over us, to remove the scars and the wounds, and to replace them with peace, joy, and restoration. Love isn't just about what we feel, it's also about what we give. Sometimes the most powerful way to heal is by choosing to love even when we don't feel like it. Choosing to love the people who hurt us. Choosing to love ourselves when we've fallen short. Choosing to love God when we don't understand why things have happened the way they have. Love has a way of breaking down the walls that we've built around our hearts. It dismantles the barriers we've put up for self-protection. When we allow love to flow, it opens up the possibility for real healing to take place. The beauty of healing through love is that it is never just a one-time thing. Love doesn't have an expiration date. It doesn't give up when it faces difficulty. It doesn't walk away when things get hard. No, love endures. It keeps coming back time and time again until every piece of brokenness is mended. Healing through love is a continual process. It's about waking up every day and choosing to let love be the thing that guides you, the thing that pushes you forward. Even when you don't feel healed yet, even when you don't feel whole, love reminds you that healing is happening, even if you can't see it yet. And it's not just the healing of others that love brings. Love heals us too. We often talk about loving others, but what about the love we need to receive for ourselves? What about the compassion, the kindness, and the grace that we so often withhold from ourselves? Healing through love is not just about offering it to others, but also about embracing it for ourselves. It's about letting ourselves be vulnerable enough to receive the love we so freely give to others. When we can receive love, when we can accept that we are worthy of being loved, it changes everything. We can't heal in isolation. Love is meant to be shared. Love is meant to be given and received. And when we open ourselves to both giving and receiving love, we open ourselves to the most profound healing imaginable. The kind of healing that restores our souls, that strengthens our spirits, and that equips us to face whatever challenges come our way. Love is what gives us the strength to forgive, the courage to move on, and the grace to let go of the past. So if you're standing here today and feeling broken, if you're carrying hurts that no one else can see, know this love is your healing. It is the very thing that can transform your life. You don't have to stay stuck in the pain. You don't have to remain in the brokenness. Healing through love is available to you right now, no matter where you are, no matter what you've been through. Open your heart, allow love to flow, and watch as it restores you to a place of wholeness, peace, and joy. Let us remember that love is not just a feeling, it's a choice, a commitment, and a powerful force that can heal the deepest wounds and break down the most formidable barriers. By choosing love, even when it's difficult, we align ourselves with the heart of God and become vessels of His healing grace. We are capable of doing more than we think, of loving more deeply than we imagine, and of healing more completely than we dare to hope. As we go out into the world, let us be mindful of those who might be hard to love. Let us extend grace, offer understanding, and choose to love as God loves us. For in loving others, especially the difficult ones, we find not only our own healing, but also the true essence of what it means to be human, to give and receive love, to be vulnerable, and to rise above the pain and challenges we face. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery, healing, and love. Remember, love changes everything. It changes hearts, it changes lives, and it changes the world. Embrace it, live it, and let it transform you and all those you encounter. God bless you all.